Greetings, salutations, and welcome back to another video in our series about the ownership of this 2000 model Mercedes-Benz C280. This is going to be a big one. It's all the detailed costs. I hope my wife never sees this video. Roll the intro, please. Okay, the car was initially advertised for 55,000 Rand. I'll try and put in all the dollars and euros and stuff. The price was quite quickly reduced to 49,000 Rand. And then once we looked at it and we found barely half the problems, which I've explained in a previous video, we did our best Ed Bolian shrewd negotiating. So Mikhail and I got the price down to 42,000 Rand. And yeah, that's basically what we paid. Okay, I'll try and add it all up at the end, and I hope I get this right, and I'll put it somewhere on the screen. But here's what the car has cost us so far. First thing was a big service at Modern Auto Services. That was 8,500 Rand, which included general servicing, a new drag link, and 4 new tires, General Ultimax 1s in this size and this speed rating. Next one, the roadworthy license and new number plates, which I did through my agent, cost 1,600 Rand. The insurance for a year, it's through a company called Vantage, Smythe Brothers Insurance. They specialize in classic cars. 3,410 Rand. Now, I'm going to put the full amount in because it is prepaid for a year, but if I sell the car earlier, I can deduct some of that. However, I did that on purpose because the car is fully comprehensively insured. Anybody can drive it, anybody who I nominate, but it does go through a classic car specialist insurance company, and the car has to be indoors, secure, at night, blah, 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 blah. There are terms and conditions, but about 3.5 grand for insurance. Now, very important, I got a new key done because the old keys were all rubbish. The spare keys, most of them didn't work. And there was a call-out fee and programming which involved getting into the dash bit. That was 3,000 Rand. If I were to get another spare key, I think it's 1,900, but 3 grand for a key, which is working almost perfectly. Much like our other aftermarket keys we've done before, it doesn't unlock the first time every time. So sometimes you have to put it into the ignition slot twice, and then it works. Next thing, I bought a generic first aid kit from Takealot. That's our sort of Amazon South African website. That one was missing, so now there's a generic first aid kit in there. I bought quite a few leather creams, oils and potions, also from Takealot, for 240 Rand to prep the seats for dyeing or painting. Then I bought a set of small neodymium magnets. I always say neodymium, but I guess the little really powerful neodymium magnets, also from Takealot, 104 Rand, bargain. They work like a bomb. They didn't work on what we had planned. There's a whole video about that, what the stuff we've done, but I'm keeping those, and I am putting them onto the costs of this car. Next, replacement bonnet star or hood ornament or Mercedes star at the front was 230 Rand from AliExpress. I also bought a new key fob rear cover from AliExpress for the spare key. Well, the actual main key, which was a spare key, which was already fake and breaking. That was 34 Rand. I bought a pair of spray nozzles, windscreen spray nozzles, for 21 Rand. And then the postal charges for all the AliExpress orders came to 160 Rand, because our post office is a rip-off and broken and doesn't work most of the time. Next thing was a good used driver door handle and mirror cover, or if you're from America, Mia cover. That came from H&H. Mikhail organized that. H&H is a scrapyard in Wellington. Shout out to my Wellington peeps. That was 200 bucks. Then the leather dye cream from Temu I put in 30 bucks because I think it's 24, 25 rand, but I used one and a tiny bit more, and I actually bought all sorts of colors for all my other cars. So let's put in 30 bucks for now, worth every cent. Grey adhesive vinyl was 63 rand. I used that to cover the holes in the doors. Wood look adhesive vinyl was 72 rand. I also bought 2 sets of those, but I only used the one. More would look adhesive vinyl, 61 rand. So of the 2, I used the second one, which fits or suits the grain and pattern of this wood a bit better. The Scarlet badge, I know it shouldn't be part of the car, but I did that. It cost 42 bucks. All of this was from Temu. Retirement edition badge, Temu, 39 bucks. You can deduct that if you like, because that's just me being silly. I promise someday I'll grow up. I just don't know when that is. Maroon touch-up paint. It's like a pen for 25 bucks. I haven't used that yet. I was going to use it on those panels for the jacking hole silk covers. Yeah, maroon touch-up paint. That was 25 bucks. Maroon clip-on cup holder was 61 rand. Haven't used it yet, but happy to have an extra cup holder. And then came a big service and various mechanical parts that the car needed. That was with my mechanic friend Rob, and cost 10,600 rand. That was a big one. But he replaced the thermostat, the antifreeze. He gave the gearbox an oil filter adapter, all sorts of like a service, oil change. The differential oil was changed. He fitted the windscreen washer pump, I think the nozzles, replaced the sensor. He fitted the supplied driver door handle, the AC compressor, because that was, what did that Afrikaans guy say? En sy gat in. So that was done. Rob organized that. He gets better prices than I do anyway, so he sourced and fitted that. He replaced the wiper blade, the indicator combination stalk, because it didn't self-cancel to the left and it looked yucky, so he got a aftermarket one. Most of his parts, I think, came from Goldwagen. Then he replaced the idler pulley, the poly V-belt and a tensioner, and 4 indicator bulbs and the front fog lights. The bulbs, those he also had to do. And all of that together came to 10,600 rand. Then I bought some rear door speakers, 4-inch Pioneer, a pair from Victoria Cash Store, just down here, 400 rand. I bought more grey felt sheets for the tray and the B-pillar thing. That was 120 rand from Takealot. A used ashtray with shipping from Facebook Marketplace was 300 rand. A used central locking vacuum pump from Marketplace was 700 rand. A new battery, Rob hooked me up with that, 2,150 rand. That's the main battery of the car. A steering wheel cover from Takealot was 149 rand. The passenger side jack hole cover from eBay was 280 rand when I converted it from pounds to South African rands. A maroon Mercedes-Benz keyring from eBay was 162 rand. Unnecessary, but anyway, I wanted it. Sort of matches the color of the car. And then a used console, ashtray, which I already had, a light switch, and some wood trim, only some of which fits the car, from a local scrapyard, altogether 450 rand. Which means the total costs, excluding the purchase price of the car, comes to 24,900 rand, if I did that correctly. I hope so. Maybe it also comes to this amount, if I calculate it afterwards, or Mr. Editor finds a mistake. Purchase price of 42,000 rand. So now the total costs, including the purchase price of the vehicle, excluding fuel, is 6,900 rand. Right. And optimistically, this Titanite red C280 with just over 250,000 kilometers is worth somewhere around 60 on a good day. Mikhail reckons 65. Thank you. So yeah, you can see I'm a few grand in the hole. I've overcapitalized. Trade and retail on this is like 40-50. Which also leads me to the usual request to please like, comment, share, subscribe, share this with like your friends and enemies and ex-lovers, so because that way I can hopefully make some of that money back you know. And we also thought of hiring this car out because, how should I put this? Don't be gentle, it's a rental. The first car I ever rev limited that I took into the limiter, boop, 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 was a dark green Nissan Sentra from Avis in Cape Town in the 90s. I can admit that on camera, right? Nothing happened. It was fine. That's what a rev limiter is for. Yeah, so what's the other one? Oh yes, the best 4x4 in the world is a Toyota Corolla from Hertz or Avis. No discussion. Thank you. Anyway, as you can probably tell, I'm not very good at budget car restorations. But if you zoom out a bit, I've had an absolute roller coaster of experiences with this car. And had quite a bit of fun just tinkering with it because it's a cheap car. And in less than half a year, I'm now left with a fairly sorted out turn of the millennium Mercedes that owes me a couple of % more than it's worth. Whoop-de-doo. It's not that bad if I look at it from a bigger perspective. In fact, to put some other perspective on it, the 2 cheapest new cars in Southern Africa, according to my notes, cost about 180,000 Rand. And respectfully, they're both tiny little Asian cookie tins with 3-pot motors, mini iPads for radios, and a free glue smell. Ugh. This car's entire cost is basically 37% of that. 37% of the cheapest new car is what this currently owes me. And it's an almost 200 horsepower V6 Mercedes with 4 airbags, ABS, ESP, a working aircon, and no screens. But tiny little LCD screens. But they don't bing and bong and take all your buttons away. Granted, it's got a few scratches and moon mileage, but they can do twice that, if not more. In fact, there's now just been an article on a C200 with the legendary M111 engine, which we have a documentary of, that's just passed 1 million kilometers here in South Africa. If you look after them, they can do stupid mileage. Also, it's got no jerky or delicate DCT, no air suspension, no software updates, no tapered backside with a post-box rear window where you can't see anything, so it necessitates you having a backup camera which overrides all your media and your ventilation, and I can reverse this car. I can move this car with the door open. I could drive into my gate now if I wanted to. You try reversing with the door open or your seatbelt undone in a modern car. I could crash into the City Golf or my neighbor's wall. This car does not care, and it is refreshing. I'm not going to put my seatbelt back on because I'm not driving. Yeah. The volume control works. Yesterday I was moving the car and I'd been enjoying my 90s CDs. So while reversing, I just shoop, one movement. What was wrong with that, new car manufacturers? Please tell me, I'd like to know. No, anyway, I'm sorry. This car is old and simple and backwards and easy to use, and hence it's absolutely wonderful. And I really, really like it. I don't love it. I'm not going to keep it. It is for sale at some point. But I'll unpack all of that in greater detail in the next chapter of our ownership series. Thanks so much for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.